Welcome back to The Watch, and we've been playing some Elden Ring.
Yes, we have.
And we would like to talk about it with you, give a bit of a review, and it's not too difficult to kick us off. It's brilliant.
Well, I got to correct you there, Shad. You've been playing some Elden Ring. I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring.
What would you consider some versus a lot?
Some versus a lot? Okay, so, you know the sinking of, like, a small ship? Like, compare that to the Titanic.
Well, I am 50 hours into the game, and look, that's a big commitment, especially because I'm busy, but I've been devoting my relaxing time and enjoying the game, and that's a massive compliment. If a game can do that for me, it's doing it for me. It's good.
Can I quickly check my hours? I think it's over 100 by now.
I think I checked it. You're on 70 to 80.
I think I might be a bit more than that.
I can check.
You can check? Thank you.
Yeah, because you can check your friends.
Yeah. Pull it up, Nathan. How's that feel?
104 hours.
104.
104 hours. So, Shad, how many hours are you in?
Yeah, 50.
Rookie numbers, yeah. I guess you're...
You gotta,
as a family.
you gotta have a less of a life than me, so you can devote more time
I guess.
to it.
Fair enough, yeah.
Look, I think you need to play it enough to be able to give it a fair judgment. And so I hate there are some, like, reviewers, like mainstream video game reviewers and stuff that barely play it an hour or so, and then they're like, this game's crap, and
Skill Up does a good job. He's probably the best. I haven't seen his review.
he's one of the better reviewers, I do admit.
Yeah.
And so our own review is that I really like it, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we like about it. I don't think it's perfect. I think there are some key things that would improve the experience for me, but I feel would also just improve the general experience as well, that the game is not giving much of.
It's a 9 out of 10 for me. 9 out of 10.
Probably 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Though, like, I'm going to qualify that. It depends in what category. In the Souls-like genre, it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Bar none. Alright? And if you like Souls-like games, you're going to absolutely love it. In the medieval fantasy, I wouldn't call this a roleplay. This is not an RPG.
Why would you call it RPG?
It's not real.
There's different endings. You can choose your character and class, what you wear.
It's an action platformer.
Where does RPG start for you and where does it end? Like Witcher 3, is that an RPG?
I think RPG actually needs more characterization and story to be an RPG.
But is Witcher an RPG?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so the thing is, though, in this game, there's choices you make that aren't like, do you choose this or this? It doesn't tell you, right? It tells you whether you've killed a certain person. Like killing a certain person can change the game completely, you know? Picking up a certain weapon, picking up a certain item. It's all hidden and up for you to discover. Like, people, until recently, were finding things in Dark Souls 3 they didn't find before, you know?
I think there's an argument that you could put to me. I'll consider, maybe I would call it an RPG. At the moment, I guess my experience with RPGs have been, like, the games that I really think of when I think of RPG, Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 2, Dark Alliance, some of the great classics, Dragon Age Origins, okay? These are pretty character-heavy stories with companions that you can interact with. You adopt a personality with dialogue trees. And then there are RPGs that are almost text-based and stuff that I still call RPGs.
Yeah.
Because, Elden Ring and really Souls-like games generally, it's all about the gameplay. Tail whip. Yep. I dodged too soon.
I need...
No! Ah! I see. I knew that was coming. I got the timing off on the first dodge, and then he going on the next one. And look, it's phenomenal. And in the Souls-like thing, it's, like I said, a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But for my standards for an RPG, the story is so undertoned. There is story there. But it's so, like I said, undertoned. It's not in your face. There is so little, like, my character's a blank slate. There's like yes or no things in dialogue to a character. Will you help me? Will you not? Will you give me this? Will you not? I can't ascribe a personality to my character to roleplay as. Well, are they snarky?
Yeah.
Are they angry? Are they good? Are they evil?
That's the thing, though. The armor, the way you play the character, that infers it. But also, in terms of the yes or no things, those things I've found so far in my playthrough, those things have dire consequences. It's two options you pick from, right? But they have dire consequences. Even going to certain areas that you want to go to, you know? It's and there's like, I made a massive mistake in my playthrough so far, and I can't undo it now, and I don't know what the mistake was, so that's a bummer. But you know, that's just how it works. It's, for me, it's like eating a foreign food. You know, it's like, it's not what we usually get, but it's bloody awesome.
It is awesome. I'm not saying it's not, but I don't know. It is vastly more like an what are some of the genres, like third-person action platformer?
Yeah, platformer. Yeah.
I would call it that, definitely, than an RPG, and I'll maybe call it maybe 5 to 10% RPG versus 95% action platformer. It's because its whole sell is how good the gameplay is, but also how engaging it is. Because when I say gameplay, I'm not just saying combat. I'm saying the exploration, the builds, the character choices, the weapons that you pick.
But that's the thing. I'd put all the picking characters and armor and stuff like that. I'd call that RPG elements.
I mean, it has level up mechanic, and people do like level up mechanic is such a strong element of RPG mechanics. Yeah. So that's a point. That's a point towards it being. Sorry, Nathan. What do you think? You're heavy into games.
I agree with Oz there, because I think with RPG, of course, the role-playing element can be vast and far between, but I think one of the things that originates is from D&D, and having that character sheet with those
the stats.
You start the game picking classes, you know.
So maybe Oz, you have convinced me, and I was wrong.
Would you like to say our special phrase for Night's Watch to remember Ben by?
Yes. But now I can't remember it exactly. I will concede.
No, you said it wrong.
See, that's tell me.
I will. I'll concede.
I thought I said that. Not like that.
No, you only went once. You meant to do it at least 3 times.
That's an honorific we're doing in remembrance of Ben, because it's good to be able to concede when you've given a logical argument. And anyone that says that I can't change my mind when you propose an argument...
Absolutely you can change your mind.
Yes,
yeah. And you don't even really need to acknowledge it.
I'm acknowledging it now. I'm pointing it out, because I need evidence, because there are some things that I have very strong views on, and it's hard to change my mind.
Yeah, like Stargate.
All right. Yes, it's an RPG.
Okay.
In terms of elements that I enjoy in an RPG, then, it is very lackluster in certain parts, like story, characterization, giving your character personality. And so to say it's a perfect game, I won't go there, because there are elements that it's just missing drastically.
But you say that's for you.
Yeah, this is a subjective thing. In some ways, I feel they could add in more RPG elements that you see more stereotypically with RPGs broadly, that would enhance the Elder Scrolls experience, even Dark Souls experience generally. Some, I wouldn't say necessarily would, like story. I thought about it when we were doing Nightly News, about the criticism of the questing in the game. When I kind of enjoy the questing vastly more than Ubisoft Assassin's Creed questing, which is just grindy, boring crap. And in Elden Ring, it's not like constant go do X, kill X monsters, everything like that. You have broader goals where there's a big boss here, you need to defeat him. However the hell you want to build up to get there, you can do it now, you can do it later, you can go the hard way, or you can go a sneaky way. That's kind of only it for the first big boss. You could go through the main gate and you just that's like insanity, to try and beat that way. And most people obviously do the more scripted path, but there is an option to do different ways. But in terms of to build up, what build will you do, how will you level there, and when you do it, because the open world thing is one of the biggest compliments. Like we'll talk about the open world aspects of this game, phenomenal, but that gives you so much freedom that's the quest. Do whatever the heck you want, do it when you want, and that freedom gives you vastly more immersion to enjoy the game versus quest.
But also, Shad, so going through the main gate, right, into the castle, you know that you can go to the castle last. You can do every other point in the game and go to that last. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's what was different about it from this to the other Dark Souls games, is that with the other Dark Souls games, you are pretty much on the rail until you've discovered different areas. And even when you get into those areas, it's either one or two ways you can go. But with this, you're jumping over rooftops and stuff like that. Yeah.
The freedom you feel that you have in the game is amazing. And sometimes I have played games where it just drops you and you feel a bit lost. What do you do?
Yeah.
I didn't really get that, because you have a starter area and only a certain revealed map. And so basically, you're pretty much free to explore this area that'll be mostly appropriate to your level until you find the dragon. Then you're like, nope. But still, people have fought the dragon, and
Where's the dragon at? Which dragon?
In the lake, in the first.
Oh, yeah.
But what I like, the other thing that's I think brilliant about Dark Souls, and Elden Ring no exception, right? Is even really hard bosses you can beat at a low level if you're just good enough.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I love that.
I'm going to do a personal meme review, like a funny review, kind of like Maxor style, if I can get to that level. But yeah, the level of goodness, right? There's if you can be the most tanked up, with the most incredible weapon ever, wearing the best armor and having all the best abilities and stuff like that. But if you see a naked man with a stick, you're in trouble. There's nothing you can do. Run. Because they are the best players, the naked men.
This is, I think, such a compliment and virtue in Elden Ring. And when I say that, it does apply to Dark Souls generally, is that you could technically beat the last boss at level 1 if you're just good enough.
Yeah.
That's amazing. There are many RPGs I've played where, one, they just won't let you go there. It's just a wall. Like, you can't get there. Or they literally make that battle impossible to beat.
Yeah.
Where there's a scripted event halfway through the fight where it stops, cuts to a cutscene, then you die, or something like that. I'm not sure. There might be something like that. I wouldn't begrudge them, but what I'm saying, I know there are fights where, just according to the your stats, it's impossible to beat certain fights at certain things, and it's intentional. With Dark Souls, if you're good enough, you can just do it. Like, you run into a strong enemy in the tutorial that if you die to it, you wake up as thing.
Yeah, you start again.
You can still beat that enemy.
Yeah, I know.
I've seen people beat him.
And you get two really good swords and a really good shield.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And to have that experience, like, there are some bosses I've purposely gone to under-leveled using a tactic that does not give me advantage and everything. And so I've done it twice because it was so satisfying you just have to master the timing. It's the Crucible Knight.
Yeah. Can we watch Oz jump again?
I was so friggin' close that time! I thought I had him. That's annoying.
I'm being
What
summoned.
you should have done, Shad, is killed him like you did last night.
Yeah, I know. One, I'm really proud of beating him like that. I wanted to have the get good moment, the ultimate gamer moment, where if you just do it enough, you can master it and beat it. And
I cheesed him.
You cheesed him?
I cheese every boss. It's like, I want to get through it easily, okay?
I'm cheesing now. Yeah. I admit. I have a cheese.
But you discovered it on accident, though. You weren't like, oh, what's the new meta, like I do. You're like, okay, I'll try a shield and spear, and it worked out for you.
I learnt about the Ash of War from a video.
Oh, still. That's still not bad. Like, you weren't like, okay, let me get a, what do you call it, laser beam that doesn't run out for 10 seconds and can kill any boss like that, right? You didn't search that. You searched, shield.
It was recommended to me, actually, because I was trying to find what type of shields you could get. And it's like, there's an interesting recommended video.
Yeah, see, so that's the difference between us two.
No, because one of the other things, right? I don't know, sometimes there's this thing in the gaming community where you have to prove that you're a legit gamer.
Yeah.
And not many people know that I'm a gamer. I really enjoy video games, have for years upon years, because my channel is medieval history and stuff like that. And so I went out of my way to record this fight, because if you get the timing wrong in it, you're dead. And it only takes 1-2 hits, it's over. And if you get the first hit, if you can't pull out and you get any timing wrong, this guy will punish you and kill you. And just mastering that fight, I hope I'll have it play here.
Who was it?
It was the Crucible Knight, like I said. Yeah. But mastering the timing, I did it on the live stream, and then I also have another recording of my other character doing it. It was so damn satisfying.
Oh boy, did he do it on the live stream.
Yeah. It's hard. It's a hard fight with that setup. Taking it on with a two-handed sword. I did it with a long sword and a katana in the 2 separate times. But I wanted to actually show people, like, hey, I can game, right? I can go hardcore into a game and do the thing. But also just the fact that you get such satisfaction out of conquering difficulty. This is why I like playing Dragon's Dogma on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
Because the satisfaction of beating a difficult game. And I love that Dark Souls, for the most part, hasn't shifted from that standard. This is a game that you have to
And that's why it's so good, though. Because everyone's playing the same difficulty. The only way to change the difficulty in this game is if you go to a site of grace and go past time to night. If you go to night, enemies are more difficult.
Oh, there.
And the game does reward you for fighting more difficult enemies.
The thing is, we addressed this as well in Nightly News. Elden Ring is the easiest Souls game I think they've made because of the freedom of builds, the open world where you can go to where you want and things like that. And to say that this is a unapproachably difficult game, I disagree with. Unless you are particularly inept at playing games, which many games journalists are. So...
They're called games journalists because they're trying to study and understand just what is gaming. But they're just regular journalists.
Yes.
At this rate, we'd have better like reviewing games ourselves.
Maybe we should.
Well, we're doing one right now.
Yeah, don't interrupt.
I mean, early, getting on the ball, getting access to keys, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just an idea.
Anyway, so exploration is what made it easier.
Yeah, it's a very approachable game in the Souls thing. Like, this is why I have dived into Elden Ring and not the... I've been on the fence of Dark Souls 3 for a while, okay? There's a couple of things that brand me, and they're odd ones, right? I have quirky things, and I need usually very specific things to get me to dive into a game.
Yeah.
Elden Ring doesn't fulfill all those perfectly, but they fill most of them enough that I can now immerse myself into the game. One of the things about Dark Souls is that it was all too scary.
What, too dark?
So, I don't like the horror genre.
Me neither.
Okay, and when it's all just like zombies, horrible, scary imagery and stuff like that, I can't relax because it's meant to keep you on edge. I like to relax, okay? And that's really held me back from diving into Dark Souls 3 because everything I've seen looks like a horror movie, right? A dark, medieval horror thing. And so many things was attracting me. Gameplay attracted me, the weapon sets, everything like that. But it's funny how just the aesthetic, and it's not the medieval aesthetic, it's the horror aesthetic. This is why Bloodborne has not, attracted me. It's this weird thing, but I just don't like the horror genre generally. I can enjoy a zombie apocalypse because I like the post-apocalyptic genre, but the whole horror thing where it's meant to keep you...
I've played Dark Souls 2 and 3. Didn't much like Dark Souls 2, but I like Dark Souls 3. I think you'd like it too. It's
I probably
very
would
similar.
like... In terms of gameplay, I probably love it. But these are just one of those weird things that are preventing me.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, open world, right? And there's times of reprieve and everything. I can go to a fantasy world, I can go to... I know there are horror-scape landscapes in Elden Ring, but even then, because it's open world, I can just run around things and everything, no, it's not an issue anymore, because I should clarify, I can accept a certain amount of horror, okay? It's where there's nothing but, and I can't relax, it's like, not for me.
Yeah. Dark Souls 3 has a lot easier story to follow than Elden Ring.
Probably. See, I love the gameplay. I mean, that's the biggest win of it, is the gameplay is just chef's kiss, masterful, perfect. Like, there are other things that I think could improve it, but that's really separate to the gameplay. I have interesting criticisms about certain animations, but that's me about realism and how you would fight with these weapons and stuff. Video on Shadiversity coming out, reviewing on that. But in terms of having the right type of animations to telegraph, so you can play PvP, but also, see what the enemies are about to hit. They're masters at it. They're absolutely incredible.
In Dark Souls 3, there's an area you come out called... it's after the Pontiff Sullivan fight. Basically, you come out of this boss fight, and there's this really beautiful moonlit stage and lower stage area, and everyone had their red summon signs up there, because it was the fight club area, where you'd summon in like 5 other people, and you'd all just sit and wait for the 2 in the centre to be done fighting, and then you'd jump in. It was just the best. Just all these... Everyone fighting with each other against their builds, and it's so good.
Do you find that there are less jump scares in Elden Ring versus other Souls games?
No, there's about the same amount.
Really? Because I found them to be less. I played Demon Souls, the first one coming out, and there were so many monster attacking you out of nowhere. You walk down something just to explore, and the ground opens up and you die and things.
Yeah, no, there's less in Elden Ring than that sounds like. But have you been to the underground areas, the catacombs yet?
No, I've been into the mines, several different mines.
Well, when you go into it comes to a point where you need to find certain items to give to the vendors at the hub area, and then they can sell you certain items. To get these things, because they're very powerful, these items you're buying, you have to go into these, they're like puzzles and dungeons in one, and they're a pain in the ass, man. No, seriously, dude. I was in one dungeon last night, I did like 15 times.
Really?
Yeah, because I just kept... Dude, seriously, man.
Yeah.
Like, it was...
Well, the only reason I bring up the jump scare thing is that I don't like jump scares. I can handle a certain number of them. And in Elden Ring, being the perfect amount. There's a monster that'll jump at me from behind, but mostly it's been in dungeons, so I know they're coming, and it's actually really satisfying to be able to preempt them now and have my guard up and block and all those things. Dungeons are still harder for me to enjoy than the open world and finding just bosses, and I love the boss battles, man.
I love the exploring the castle, like just being able to jump around.
Yeah, I didn't. It's funny. The castle technically is as much a dungeon and everything, but the fact that it's an environment I can be immersed and enjoy more. The actual dungeons, the underground things, especially with those gargoyle goblin things, it's just, again, it's the more horror, jump scary kind of environment out of me enjoy. It's very subjective, I get it. But those things helped me give Elden Ring, it made it more approachable, helped me give it a try over Dark Souls 3, and then I was being able to truly enjoy the game, which I knew I would enjoy Dark Souls 3, right? And the other ones. But it was less approachable. This one is vastly more approachable, a lot easier than other games, and so people complaining that it's too hard, I feel it's it is a hard game. It's not like difficulty, you just put to easy, but it's not overly hard, I don't think, by any means. Yeah,
and also, Dark Souls 3 is where they started getting into, okay, we'll open up the environments and paths you can take now. We'll open them up so there's a bit more areas you can go to get to certain places. But with Dark Souls 2, you were locked, and same with Dark Souls 1.
Well, it's interesting how they've chosen to do open world, because sometimes when a game decides to try something new, it could ruin the experience, and it's a matter of choosing what addition you're bringing to it will enhance the experience versus detract from it. And this was just masterful. Like, open world in the Dark Souls format is a match made in heaven. I love it.
They figured that out with Dark Souls 2. In Dark Souls 2, they introduced a thing called hollowing, where, like, if you're killed, when you come back, you get a status called hollow, and your guy's like all super messed up, like almost a zombie looking. And you have to get a thing called a human effigy to become human again. But it was just tedious and added nothing because it took away like a little bit of your health, and it was just annoying. So they took that away for Dark Souls 3, and everyone appreciated it.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, see, again, it seems like they're paying attention to what's working, what isn't, and. Because like another game dev has tried to criticize it for bad questing and everything, and to me, that's not trying to say it would be a better, like, he's trying to say it would be a better game if it had better questing. I don't think so, because the type of questing it has in it is catered for the experience of what it is, and doing different questing would change the experience, not enhance it. I'm not saying games with better questing or different questing can be equally enjoyable, but Dark Souls is made Elden Ring is made in such a specific way that I like how it's done its questing.
It's singular vision.
Yeah, and there's good questing and bad questing, and this is orders of magnitude better than bad questing. Go kill X amount of monsters.
Yeah,
escort
follow this person. Radio tower. HQ, take down the enemy HQ, stuff like that.
But when questing is done good, it's awesome. Like oddly enough, the game that I think I've enjoyed questing some of the best was Saints Row number 2.
You played Saints Row 2?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
But the thing is, there was so much character and personality in it that there was this ongoing story, and sometimes it was quirky, sometimes serious and things, and the quests felt very organic for what was happening. Someone just got kidnapped, we've got to go rescue him, or something like that, or this gang has been really getting in our faces, we've got to tell them what for. And one of the things that I thought was just amazing, that I wish I could see in other games that they did in Saints Row 2, was when you're traveling to the quest, usually an NPC would come along with you, and there would be a scripted dialogue between your character and him, and it would sometimes be really funny and engaging and stuff. And I would love it if you could have a character and you pick like a base personality type, snarky, comedic, or anything like that, and depending on which one you picked, would give you different kind of pre-scripted engaging dialogues and stuff. They kind of did this with Dragon Age Inquisition, where you had NPCs that would go into pre-scripted conversations, talking about backstories, and for the most part they were written well, and it increased immersion and stuff. The fact that Saints Row incorporated that into the quests, made it very playable and enjoyable.
They had a bit of that in Mass Effect, except it was you're either good or bad. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want more freedom more options than just good or bad. And so that's an example of questing that's really engaging and done well. I'm not sure Dark Souls needs that. And it would change the experience. And I personally like more personality in my character, and we don't get many ways to express that with how Dark Souls runs at the moment. Like, is my character happy, angry, snarky, good, bad?
Well, surely your gameplay style informs that.
Not very much.
Really? Like, you haven't come across a red phantom who like does spins and teabags and then comes at you with a little knife? You haven't?
No, not yet.
You haven't? Okay, well, that's the thing. Especially with Dark Souls PvP, you learn the character of the people you're playing against just based on how they play. They'll be doing weird stuff, man. They'll be trolling you. It's really funny. Yeah, it's a great. So many good memories.
So, in terms of finding things that will enhance the experience that they're going for, the open world is just
Perfect.
match made in heaven.
Just to finish up on that, I've been on Twitter this past discussion, and literally my entire feed has been Elden Ring. I can't escape it.
It's a cultural. It's a big thing.
Everyone is.
It's
still
one of those
talking about
games.
it.
Is it bigger than Witcher 3, you think?
Oh, I think so.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think at this point it's gotten bigger.
It has this competitive element because of the gameplay and the difficulty in it that I've done something that I've never done before in a game. I've recorded my gameplay to show Oz and Nathan me beat a boss because I was so proud of it. I have never done that with any other game. That's an amazing achievement, honestly.
Yeah. But someone posted some really good about open worlds. He said that the success of Elden Ring confirms something I've said for years. The potential to be surprised is critically important for an open world game with exploration as key. If you know, you'll never be surprised and the game just becomes filling out lists. So, for example, with quests for Ubisoft games, you know what you're going to go do. You're going to go to a tower and like unlock a thing or whatever. But with Elden Ring, he says that, when I go to a location, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what's going to be the destination. And because I'm surprised, it's more satisfying to go and explore.
Yeah.
I think it's all like GTA 5. I would go to do a quest, but halfway through you get this little strange encounter, and instead of doing a mission story, I'd go on and help someone blow up their ex-wife's trailer because they just showed up and did something. And the same thing is with Elden Ring. You go to a quest to go get a boss, but on the way you see some convoy doing something, you get distracted.
We need a camera for you. Like, why do you speak more when you're not in camera with me first?
I don't know, maybe it's just the seating.
Gosh.
But especially with the discovery, right? I was playing Elden Ring. I was like, I love these highland plains. Hey, there's a little wall over here. Let's jump over that. And I arrive in Khalid. Have you seen Khalid? Or Khalid?
Which one? Is it the red, hellscape?
Everything's
place?
red.
Yeah.
It's a hellscape. You step into a river. It's a river of blood. It starts to kill you.
Yeah, you know how I got there? I opened a chest which randomly teleported me into a mine with these really tough guys. And it was like, oh. Yeah. And I had to find a way out of there. When I got out of there, I was in that place. Like, all right, I've escaped one hell and I'm in a new hell that's just killing me.
Dude, have you seen the dogs in Khalid?
Yeah, I think so.
They're literally...
Oh, yeah, those big ones that look like...
T-Rex dogs.
Yeah.
They're terrifying and they're a pain in the ass to fight. Like, they're literally gigantic. They're basically like a regular pit bull.
Mm-hmm. One of the toughest things I found to fight in the open world that's a regular thing is the dire bears.
Oh, yeah.
They are so aggressive
that
and they jump around so much that it's actually harder for me to fight them with my cheese build because I use a big, massive shield.
And they just stomp you.
Yeah. Whereas the dogs I didn't find too challenging. Just shield up.
I hate them. I hate them so much. that whole cursed area I hate.
Yeah. So this game is becoming almost like, I don't know, a milestone, like a cultural moment in gaming because so many people are playing it. And part of it is, I think, because people they're sharing it so much more. They're happy with the achievement. Yeah. They're engaged. This is big news. It's big news in gaming, and that's finally we've been waiting long enough, I think, for something that's good to come along.
But also, like with Nathan on Twitter. No, that's not a joke. And with all the videos on YouTube, people are just finding more and more stuff, and that's why, like with when Halo 3 came out back in the day. It came out with a thing called Forge, where you could make your own maps. You could theater, where you could replay, make clips, take screenshots, all that sort of stuff, and that spawned a huge map making community where people are making sculptures of Megatron and stuff like that, or people making their own movies, which spawned Machinima partly from Halo. And it's just like when you give people more tools or more things to do with what I don't even know how to put this. More exploration and more people,
More community.
Yeah, more community, more creativity. But the modern games, it's like pay $10 and we'll give you a suit of armor.
In terms of the exploration around the map, right? I have found myself just enjoying traveling across the map. Maybe it's the fact that they gave you a horse that can double jump, and
well, he's not a horse, is he?
He's a goat. He's like a magical goat.
Oh man, I love the magical goat. What's his name again?
Yeah, I really love the thing. Like, the exploration around the map has been phenomenal, and I actually thought it was going to be, it's only for movement. You're not really going to use this in combat because it's just not going to compare. Where one of the bosses I fought, I beat him because I was like, I couldn't beat him on foot. It was the dragon on the lake.
The first area?
In the first area.
I never encountered him. I still haven't encountered him.
Really? Because he moved so far that to approach him, you'd get hit by his fire breath and stuff like that. It's like, to be able to get close enough and stick on him, you need to move faster. And so I jumped on the goat and I killed him fully on the horse. And I love that it doesn't force you because of gameplay, one or the other. There's advantages and disadvantages to both, which... Because one, I don't necessarily like a game that forces you always on the horse. I love Mountain Blade, one of my favorite, but fighting on foot is mostly pointless. And there are some weapons that you can't use on the horse, like the longbow. I want to use a longbow, but I can't use it on the horse.
Use a short bow on the horse?
You can use a short bow, but sometimes I want to use a longbow. Longbows are cool. So there is some railroading in terms of the gameplay there that is a comparison between horse and on foot. It doesn't do that in Elden Ring, and there are certain adventures where you can choose, and you got more freedom. Love it, really good. The feedback of the goat and just movement is brilliant.
Oh yeah, he handles perfectly.
Yeah,
like if you're standing facing a cliff, like you can even be at like a diamond point at the cliff. Like you turn that way, you go, you're dead. Turn that way, but you can just do a complete flip. And
yeah, like I did a rush attack on a guy, killed him in one hit, but because I was leaning to the right to try and get the hit in, I moved him across to the side, and I ended up running off the mountain. But I instantly did the magic jump and straight back on. I was like, whew.
Oh man.
So it's
Torrent. That's his name. Forgot it.
With how prominent Torrent features in the game, the necessity to get that handling right was really important. They nailed it.
One thing they did miss with Torrent, they didn't give us a pat button.
I
want to pat the goat.
This is interesting. That goes into some of the areas where I feel the game is lacking in, and that's, you could always call it peripheral things, but to me they really enhance the experience. Freedom of character customization, appearance. I was really expecting you could find different skins for Torrent. I haven't found a single one.
They might add that later. They might add different mounts.
Even armor for the horse as well, so you can have a different look when you're running around.
Yeah.
Now, before I dive into some areas where I feel it's lacking, I am surprised at how attached I am to some of my characters. I wish I could do more with them. And that's where, because I have a barbarian character where the barbarian outfit is the outfit you start with if you're the heroic base class. Looks barbaric enough for me to be, yes, this is my barbarian, good. And she's my main character at the moment, and I'm going around like a phalanx with a big shield and spear, and I'm loving it. And I'm really enjoying seeing this character explore the world. I'm invested in this character, and sometimes I wonder about how she came into this, and I compare her interaction when she meets a noble person, and so it's funny how I'm injecting more character into my character. It's a compliment because it means I'm invested enough to do that, but it also means I wish there was more because I want to express the character this way. My other character is a Night Lady. That's the one I'll be doing on live stream, and I found an armor set that I was really happy with last live stream, which got me invested in the character. It's so interesting how the look is very crucial for me now, being invested in the character, because I want to play the character I have in my head and stuff. So there's a big compliment that the armors look really good, the character movement looks really good. I'm not happy with the character model, like in terms of the proportions.
Yeah, it doesn't. They got to fix that.
There's very little options with that. And so this is where we get to some of the things that's lacking. I wish there was vastly more character options so I could play a really big, tall barbarian guy. Like, I like to play girls more often in games, but there are several archetype male characters I like to play as well. And one is like a really buff guy with huge arms that uses the most massive bow I can find. There are awesome massive bows in this game. I would love to do just the archetypal crazy strong bowman build. But there's not enough freedom in the character creator for me to do that. I can't make the arms super big. I can't adjust height at all. And so that's an entire playthrough that I won't do in the game because I don't have the freedom to play the character I want. So if they're talking about, this is like, I feel peripheral little things. I don't know how much it would take in development, maybe a lot more than I'm saying. But if they added those elements in extra development to the game, that could almost double my gameplay time in this, because there are so many different builds of the game that I just want to play through. This is what Dragon's Dogma did amazingly well. There was so much freedom in the character creation. I end up making, I'm not kidding, like 50 different characters. Sometimes I'd like to make them copies of characters in fantasy, like Gandalf, Gimli, all these things, because I could make such a close approximate. I'm a writer, and more than that, I'm an author, and so I have all these stories with these characters, and I wanted to play as each one of these characters for my books, and Dragon's Dogma had so much freedom, I could nearly play everything. My gameplay time on Dragon's Dogma more than doubled. It quadrupled because of the freedom in character creation, and I wanted to go through the whole game again as a new character. The thing that Dark Souls does have, it has the diversity in gameplay. Like, choose a different weapon type and there's a different combat experience. That's good. They need that. And so there's a compliment to it. But the fact that it isn't matched out in the character creation and customization, it falls short in a big way.
Well, Dark Souls are, sure, like, you know, different weapons, but it doesn't have, like, the Ashes of War system is just amazing.
Yeah, like, again, this has customized builds of combining different things, which is phenomenal. I love that. It's like Magic the Gathering deck building, where if I combine this, effect with this effect, what will it give me? I love that.
And just people min-maxing that is incredible. Can I talk about the Magic for a quick second?
Okay, we'll jump onto the Magic. I'll try and finish off some of these peripherals that I think that would really enhance it. Being able to customize the armor. One, I like full customization.
Yeah.
But even if they have locked in, chest sets, right? Being able to remove the cloak or have the cloak on, pauldrons, the underlayer versus the overlayer. Like, there's a chainmail build, like armor set, that I would just like the chainmail shirt, and that's it. If I could choose which ones appear or not, just cosmetically, would give me huge, freedom in my character's appearance.
All the armors that I've worn so far, I've been able to remove the cloak.
Well, I can only remove the cloak on 2, and so you get the sewing kit to modify armors. Out of the 20 different armors I have, I can only modify 2 of them, and it's only the cloak.
Oh, okay.
The modification is pathetic in this game. It really is, in terms of the armor modification, the appearance. Okay, and even the armors you can, it's nothing. Like, one, you can remove a neck thing, and so it would increase. Again, small thing, but a vast increase, in terms of the character immersion stuff. More cosmetic options in the armor to then get the character you want, and then go further. Like a dyeing system. Imagine you could find certain dyes or make certain dyes in the game.
That would be sick. Dye system.
To give your armor the color that you want, the look that you want. This is what Conan Exiles does phenomenally well. They have a more restrictive armor set, but because you can mix and match the hands to the feet, to the chest piece, and the legs, and the dye system, you can get a surprising amount of customization in the armor. It's vastly more than you would expect.
Because you can wear different sets, but then make them look similar with the different colors. It's grand. It's really good.
Really good. And because of that, I've been able to play. I've replayed Conan because I want to play maybe a sneaky rogue this time, or a noble barbarian, or a barbarian knight, or all these other things. And again, it's such a weird thing that having the ability to play a different character, even if most are the same, but it's just a visually different look, it makes me want to play through the whole game again. And so this is a small thing that has a big effect, and it doesn't have it. And this is one of those improvements that I feel would enhance the Dark Souls experience. Because
and not take away anything.
Not take away, exactly. This is different from saying you need conventional questing, when no, that's not the experience it's offering. This would enhance the experience it is, because one of the experiences is invading other players, and having a very distinct look that you pick that's really iconic to your character, I think is really important to the experience, but you're limited in that in a big way.
That was one of the things that was also popular with Dark Souls, that we'll probably see coming soon later in the life cycle of this game, is the thing called Fashion Souls.
I've heard of it,
Yeah, where people would just post, they're like, hey, here's my cool character, what do you reckon? And be like,
To me, coming from games with vastly more customization, when I first heard Fashion Souls, the concept, I was like, but it has no fashion options in it. Like, what? I was confused. And if this is what it's been offering, honestly, the cosmetic options are actually pretty pathetic in this game.
Yeah.
But at least I've been able to find 2 armor sets. I've been able to visualize a character around and get immersed in. And as a result, I have been really enjoying my barbarian look. And, funny thing, my review of the weapon and animations on Shadowversity that'll be coming out, I feel certain weapon types suit certain character archetypes.
Yeah.
And so even when I change the weapon, if I change to the longsword, I change the armor she was wearing into knight armor.
Yeah.
Because a longsword with a crossguard just does not visually match a Conan the Barbarian style character.
Yeah.
And so I actually changed the armor to the weapons that I'm matching, because that's how important it is to me. I want the weapons to match the character.
Yeah, I want the, for example, I started with the Confessor class, right, and they're all like holy magic and stuff like that, so my guy's like got a hood and he's wearing black clothes, but then I had this massive scythe, which was like gold and stuff, and I had to justify that in my head. But now if I've got silver armor, I have to have a silver weapon. I can't, I have to have a match.
Yeah. And so the options they give on the proportion of the character, barely anything, and this might be a weird one to bring up, right, but a chest size option for a female is something that I think a lot of guys would want, and
a lot of women too.
A lot of women as well. And not to say all the guys are just going to go big. No, sometimes you want a different build, a different proportions of your character, depending on the character you want. This gives none of that. Okay.
A true Souls player would want them smaller, so it's less of a hitbox. Just saying.
But again, so it's so limited, and then the look of the character models, we've been teasing the female type B character model because it's so butch masculine looking, it doesn't look very appealing at all.
Yeah.
And even the guy build, not very appealing. If I want like a massive barbarian with really big arms, I can't really pick that. I don't have the freedom and flexibility in it.
Thanks, progressives, for making men less masculine and women less effective.
I don't know. That's been around. Like the Dark Souls, I've particularly loathed the Dark Souls character model, even from Demon Souls. It's always been bad. I think it's just a problem or a blind spot that FromSoft has, because their character models have sucked.
Well, I mean, it's called From Software, not From Hardware, so...
So interestingly, those are kind of my main complaints. Again, it expands to the goat animal. If you could change the look of that as well, find your armor, that would also be, because it plays such a big and important role in the game. And in terms of character personality, I don't know. I used to think that it needed more story, but now I'm not so sure. I think it's such a distinct experience, an immersive experience. The lack of story creates immersion in the world where you do get these nuggets. So I'm not sure that would be an improvement now.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You get the story by paying close attention to item descriptions and the world around you, and what do you call it? What characters and bosses say.
Well, I mean, the story about Godric, right? The king that is one of the first big bosses. It's no spoilers, but I actually found that there was a big mystery around it, immersive, a bit elusive, scary as well, like what's going on. There's this whole grafting thing. You meet this an NPC that talks a little bit about him, and something happened, and that was actually really engrossing story for how little it gave you.
Yeah.
But now I understand a bit of an arc around Godric and his end that was really immersive.
Yeah.
So, people trying to criticize like a story, I first started criticizing that, but after going through an arc of story in it, it was pretty darn satisfying.
Yeah. And that's what they like, man.
And the small nuggets, like all these soldiers that you're finding are Godric soldiers.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, okay, why are they still loyal to him? What's going on? All these things.
But crazy small things like that. It's especially again, I'll shill the guy, but if you haven't heard of him, Vati Vidya, he does. For one, he's got the smoothest voice I've ever heard come from an Australian ever. Yeah. I would put on his videos and go to sleep. It's that smooth. But yeah, when he actually puts the story together and explains to you, like, okay, here's how the story goes. We found this from this item, and when we see this, it's just like it's put together this really cool web, and the story is always something usually like really sad and heartbreaking, but still like because he delivers it in his way. It's just great content, and yeah.
All right, so you want to talk about the magic because this
is my combat.
Yeah, I have not really touched magic at all, apart from certain Ashes of War. Really,
I think you'll like it.
Yeah, well, a compliment to the game. I do want to do a playthrough of just a solely magic character. Something's limited me though.
What?
I have certain archetypal visual styles of different pre-made kind of characters in my head who are stereotypically magic users. There's one character who I call Gentrium, and she's usually a blue-haired elf-type hybrid magic swordswoman, right? And this is
a Spellblade.
Exactly. This is a default character that I love to play when I have the option for magic. I've played her in Dragon's Dogma Inquisition. I played her in a lot of different games where I've used that archetypal look. I won't be able to do that in Demon's Souls because I can't see Elden Ring, sorry. I can't see the armor that matches her. I don't have the freedom to make her look the way I want.
What is she wearing?
That varies. It's usually some type of armor robe kind of hybrid.
You haven't seen Carrion armor?
Maybe. I'll look if there's some good looking armor.
Carrion armor, because I went for Spellblade too, mixed between magic and sword, and the Carrion armor set is built for that.
But at least there's enough diversity in the gameplay and weapon types that I do want to do a whole different playthrough with a different strategy. And magic is one of those ones that I want to dive into. Haven't done it yet.
Yeah, so I went into magic because I knew that I can't remember, it was called Soul Stream in Dark Souls 3, where it's just endless Kamehameha, right? In this one it's called Azur's Comet, and I wanted that just so I could get through bosses easy, and it works for some who like when they spawn at the end of the map and they're easily staggered, and I can just do that endlessly, right? But there was this one particularly special fight because I literally had to think, okay, what spells can I use? And I had to think about when I had to use them. So there's it's in the root system. It's an underground part. Basically, you come to this massive arena and you think you're going to be fighting this giant beast because in the background you see there's a massive like dead creature. But you walk up to the end of it and then one dude spawns. It's like a phantom, and it's usually one of 3 different guys, and you have to fight him. And then after him, a wizard spawns, and you have to fight him. And then after him, 3 dudes spawn, and you have to fight all of them. So with the first one, I knew that I could kill them just with my weapon, right? My sword. But then I realized that, okay, so I did this fight like 6 times. It was that tough. Then the wizard spawns, and so he uses magic on you. So I'm like, okay, what spells do I have? I've got this one, right? So one of them, I knew I was going to fight the wizard. I've seen he's done the phalanx thing, the things above the head, the floating swords.
Yep.
So there's no real defense against that unless you have a shield, and even then. So what I did is I got this spell called Eternal Darkness, which sucks in all magical projectiles into it. So basically, as soon as I killed the first boss, I put one of those up, I put my own phalanx up, and then it's like that, right? And then for the next phase of the fight, I have to switch to the crescent. It's like the basic shot, except it's in a crescent, and so it can
area of effect.
Exactly. So and then if I'm fighting a shield user, because one of the guys that I do fight is a shield user in this fight, I have to find ambush shard, which instead of firing a little glintstone out from your thing, it comes out behind them and towards you. So it's I had to set up my spell bar in a certain way that I could do that. So each time I go to the correct next one in the fight, and it was
freedom of strategy and combination and all that stuff. Now I've heard that their attempt at implementing magic in a previous Souls game was not very successful, and this is just blows everything out of the water, and that magic can be employed to a vastly more important degree than other Souls games, which is brilliant. I haven't experienced the other ones, but magic is fun. I've only tried a couple of different spells, but I've seen certain spells that I would love to do a whole game run on. Like there's this one, I think it's Carrion Greatsword or something like that, where you summon this ridiculously big sword with this wide slash with great range. It's like, that looks awesome.
I got that. Oh, well, that's the spell. You can actually find the Carrion Knight sword. It's easy to find. It's in the Luinaria area. I can't remember how it's pronounced. But it's literally a sword that its weapon art is it does the massive sword, but it gets big like 3 times until it's massive. And then you just bring it down. And I've got it to, I think, 10 plus now.
So what a great spell to have like a spell sword character built around. So cool.
It's awesome.
So they nail magic. They nail so many things in this game. Is there anything other specifics that we want to mention?
Just the weapon, the Ashes of War. The incredible amount of things you can do with that is just... It's absolutely nuts. Because not only does it change your weapon set, it changes. You can choose what your weapon scales in. Because almost all,
Yes.
almost all weapon is scaled through melee and dexterity. But you can change the weapon art to be magic or faith.
Yeah, and you can have like a magic character have the opportunity to use weapons that weren't suited for it.
Yeah.
That's a really great point of freedom. That because in a lot of games, and I think even Dragon's Songler is a bit the same, and is a fail for it, is that there are certain weapons that certain characters just won't be able to use, right? Because of the stat progression different and stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Dragon's Dogma you can pretty much... Actually, no, there are certain weapons you just flat out can't use if you're on class. Like, you can't use the magic bow if you're a fighter or things like that. Because they have very distinct character classes in it. They're fun, and they give you a lot of different versatility within the different classes. But this is great that you can restat weapons to suit your build.
Yeah, and it's not just like... So, with the Ashes of War, you can choose to give it either a move set... So like its special attack will be like, you jump forward and do like a spinning slash, right? Or there's ones that allow you to do a different sort of movement, like Bloodhound sidestep or Bloodhound step. It makes you do this instead of a roll. You do a massive leap to the side, and while you leap to the side, you're invisible. And it's just like it's incredible. And then there'll be other ones like Vampiric Lifesteal, where it only works on fists or fist weapons, and you can just like tear into people, suck their life out. It's just it's so good.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal game, so we give it very high ratings, but I guess this is most of the things that we wanted to talk about.
I really honestly don't have any. The only everyone's saying stability and stuff like that.
Look, I have noticed some freezes. It's unplayable for me in 4K. I go down to the mid-range between, I think it's 1440p, and that is playable with the occasional freeze that annoys the hell out of me because they usually die to it in a boss fight. But it happens maybe once or twice every game session, and I can put up with those types of freezes. And it's not like the whole game is crashing. Overall, it's a very stable and I'm choosing to not go to 1080p to resolve that, so it's also my choice.
Well, to this day, I still have more issues, like performance issues and, what's the other one? Performance and stability issues, playing literally any Halo game on computer now. Any of them. So, maybe the game crashes after 18 hours of straight play, right? Or maybe I miss a frame here or there. It's fine. Game's brand new. It can only get better, and I barely noticed it.
So, Elden Ring comes with our very high recommendation. A lot of things I love about it. For me, there are, as I mentioned, things I wish it offered, and that'll just get me to play even twice as much as I am now. But even already, I am really enjoying it. One of the things that I need in a game is ability to relax. And this game gives me the freedom to choose to farm a bit, get some runes, get some things, and I've really enjoyed prepping my character for the big battles. And so I know there's a big boss going in, so I was like, all right, I want to upgrade my weapon to the highest level I can. I want to get this type of, not pendant, but they're symbol things that give you buffs or whatever. That you can equip in your inventory.
Talismans.
Talismans, yeah, find the right talismans, and then just... This process is also really fun. It's like, all right, where do I get this talisman? I need to run this, I need to do this and everything. This is really fun, satisfying stuff that I can do casually. I'm enjoying it. It's relaxing me. Oh boy, this game! If this game can do that, it's a big win for me.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10 actually.
8 out of 10. You could probably push me to a 9 because there's a lot to praise about it. I just wish it could fill these other small little, but they're big things for me.
And I'm with you on those. Yeah, customization needs a fix.
But let us know what you think if you played Elden Ring in the comments below, if you want to check it out. And until next time, stay on watch.